I wanted to take my camera and go to the beach at dawn and get some video of the sunrise and just quietly soak in the beauty of this country. That shows you how little we Americans still know about Vietnam. I'm here before 5:30 a.m. and there's already 5,000 Vietnamese on my section of the beach. I had to stand in the water to get a unobstructed and spectacular shot of the sun coming up out of the sea. However, this is the exact spot where I had my platoon of Marine engineers camp for a couple of months, building the first edition of the China Beach R&R Center. And I've got to say that the scenery has gotten a lot better today. Across the water on Monkey Mountain is the Lin Ung Pagoda with the tall Lady Buddha statue. That statue is about 220 feet tall and is the tallest in Vietnam. It is part of a large set of shrines and is frequented by Vietnamese from all over Vietnam. This lady is the goddess of mercy and compassion and is under lights all night long like a lighthouse. She watches over the big tankers and the small one-man boats, her little flock at sea. You can meet a lot of people walking on these beaches even if you don't speak their same language, and particularly if you have a camera in your hand. There was this one young lady named Sue that I'd never met before, nor have I ever seen since. She came up, wanted to be on camera and say something to the world.
Okay, hello the world. I am Sue from Vietnam. And now I send one message from my heart to the world. It means smile on. And I will sing a song to help you know more about the smile on. The song is I love you. I love you. You love me. We are a great big family with a great big heart and a gift from me to you. When you say you love me too, I love you. And how about you, the world? One day we will meet at the heaven on earth, not heaven on earth. I'm sure. Hello and bye bye.
In many ways, Vietnamese customs are similar to that of America maybe 50 or 100 years ago. Like, for example, with bathing suits, there's still something of a stigma against wearing bathing suits, particularly for women. You see people in their street clothes in the water.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Eric Foss. We're talking to you from Da Nang, Vietnam. I used to be in the Hyatt, and I was in the military, and I bought my own beach. It's going to be a backpacker resort. Lovely time. You have a full moon, summer solstice, epic adventure, coconut trees. It's always the coconut season. Come on down and enjoy.
This is Marble Mountain, just on the southeast corner of Da Nang, adjacent to the beach. It is honeycombed with Buddhist shrines, including ones in large caves. It's a beautiful place to visit, and if you were there in the war, you always looked at it as something of a place where Viet Cong watched the American Marine Air Base just to the north of here. They kind of moved the monks aside and used it as an observation post, watching Marine Corps activities just to their north. This is down at the beach, a short distance away, short walk away. This is Mr. Wah and his wife. They run a place, a small hostel and restaurant for beers, burgers, and fries, and they love to have Westerners come in. He was raised by Marines during the war, and every Marine Corps birthday and 4th of July, we have parties out here at his place on the beach near Marble Mountain. All kind of interesting people. The ladies kind of drop their Vietnamese recipes and put out potato salad, macaroni salad, and the guys do barbecued burgers and hot dogs. And there's corn on the cob. I kind of get hungry looking at that. All kind of people, like I said. There's a couple of reporters here from the New York Times, a couple of old VC. This one, he spent 9 years in our version of the Hanoi Hilton, and his ears still bleed from electrical shocks that he had put into his ears. Here are the two, my wife, two reporters from the New York Times, and the two old VC. The one on the right, he had his leg cut off in 3 different times, so it's gone now at the hip. I think they used a hacksaw on it and gave him 1 Darvon for pain relief and 2 guys to hold him down. In the evening, later, you could go down to the 17 Saloon, which is a part of the 17 Hotel on the river near downtown. Those were their flags they had up, and it's about 95% Vietnamese clientele. The entertainers are from the Philippines. They were doing, for the 4th of July, an American cowboy and Indian entertainment. And yes, that is a wall-sized, real-life flag of the great state of Texas. I was truly amazed at the devotion that these people have spiritually. Even in the Buddhist and Confucian beliefs that they don't celebrate like religion as we think of a religion, it's kind of embedded in their personalities and their characters. This is the Catholic Church built by the French in 1923, and there would be more people than could ever get into that church. They were outside, they had closed-circuit TVs and chairs for people. And the only exception to that was the English Mass. All Masses in Vietnamese had people outside, people inside. The Christmas celebration includes this is one put on by some of the evangelical churches in a main theater downtown Da Nang. This is over at the Fuama Resort, and they also have a Christmas for Westerners. This was fun. Get on buses and drive out and surprise Vietnamese about a week or so before Christmas. This is now down at a market in Hoi An, about 20-30 minutes south of Da Nang. It's on the Song Tu Bon River, and they have karaoke everywhere you go, even here in the market.
Và sau đây một dòng ca nữ tiếp theo, Thương Em Chiếc Đợi 10 trà và 11 là đi luôn.
We decided to get a couple of chicken on the hoof here. This first time in my life I learned to, or I had the experience of eating chicken feet, barbecued. This is a good old-fashioned way of getting chickens. This is right on the river, and everything, all the stuff here is just washed right down into the river. It's been a long time since I've seen this done. There was this group of Americans and people from Europe that were bicycling to help their veterans back home. The one from America was called Operation Comfort, started by a lady named Janice, headquartered in San Antonio, Texas. And they worked to help in the rehab of wounded veterans. And this particular trip, they were raising money to enable veterans back home to make return trips to Viet Nam. That's Janice. They put their bicycles together. They started off in Hoi An, and they traveled north for about 100 miles, and they were through some pretty rugged territory. That one young lady that was with Janice a few shots back, her husband had lost both legs in a wartime explosion in Afghanistan. This is the foot of Hoi An Pass. This is a Buddhist shrine. This is that same spot in 1969. The country is beautiful and rugged, and some of these guys had some challenges. Look at his legs. I can't believe they were doing 100 miles through this. This is up to the top of Hoi An Pass. It's on the road, Highway 1, between Da Nang and Hue City, the old imperial capital. Up here at the top, there's old fortifications, some from way back hundreds of years ago, and some from the days of the French. Here's one of the older ones. There's one of the French-built ones. Rudyard Kipling wrote in his poem Mandalay, "Come ye back, ye British soldier, come ye back to Mandalay. Come ye back to Mandalay where the old flotilla lay. Can't ye hear the paddles chunking from Rangoon to Mandalay? On the road to Mandalay where the flying fishes play, and the dawn comes up like thunder out of China across the bay."